All right, everyone, we are going to kick off our media availability session here at Circuit of the Americas. We are now joined by Tyler Reddick, driver of the number 45 Toyota for 2311 Racing. Tyler, coming in as the defending champion, how do you feel?
Or is it on? Oh, it's on. I see a red light. I'm thinking it's not on. Yeah, I feel good. How do you feel?
Good that you feel good?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, wow. All right, I will not talk as loud. Yeah, no, I feel good about it. Obviously, there's a couple changes with the car, the package, whatever. It's, it's relatively the same track. Some corners have been repaved, so yeah, I think some of the ways that you make lap time will be a little bit different, but at the end of the day, the way you run really fast laps here is executing all 20 corners in that lap, so hopefully we can do more of the same.
All right, we'll open it up for questions. We'll start over there with Jeff. If you have a question, just raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you.
Is there any difference when you go from kind of under the radar, nobody knows what you can do yet on road courses, and you're like, hey, I think I can do pretty good, watch this, to like people saying, oh yeah, you're the favorite, you're the guy to beat, you're the best guy out there? Like, does that change your mentality at all?
No, it is kind of cool though. I mean, I remember a time not too long ago where I was hoping just to finish, you know what I mean, with the clean race cars. So it's been nice to turn it around and improve like we have. And yeah, if anything, it doesn't hurt your confidence coming in, right? When you see that. So yeah, it just validates. I mean, I guess it's all leading in, right? We haven't done anything on the racetrack yet, but hopefully by the end of practice and qualifying tomorrow, we're exactly where we want to be. We've certainly worked really hard at it. We haven't gotten comfortable with the speed that we seem to have. We keep the same mindset and keep working really hard at it every time.
Tyler, we'll go over here to your right to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan kicking the tires.net. So, defending winner, but how many laps do you actually have on this track in real life versus what you have on sim, and how much do you practice for this? Because I know you've been here, and some times when we're not here.
Yeah, I'll talk about real life. I've had the opportunity to come and race here with the WRL World Racing League. And they got array of different classes, and the class we competed in was GTO, which is kind of the league class of that series. So it was a lot of fun. I think the first year I did it, I think there was like 89 or 90 cars entered. And I think the second year I did it, there was even more cars. So it was just a lot of fun. That first year we did it, we learned a lot. We had speed. We just couldn't put the whole race together. And when we came back the next year, we won both days, and it was really, really, really fun. Learned a lot about, I guess how to manage your car in a long road course race. For us, we had the speed in that race when we ran here, but we didn't have the fuel mileage the other cars did. So we had to get creative and save fuel, do some things that can actually help you given the right circumstances on the Cup side. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I can't tell you how many laps we did during those 8-hour endurance races, but it was a lot of fun. And I love racing in the Cup Series, but there's something about 90 cars on the racetrack and 5 or 6 different classes. I don't think I had a single clean lap either year I ran that race. Just passing 3 or 4 cars at a time is just absolute chaos. No spotters either. No spotters.
We'll go to Tanner right there.
Hey, Tyler, Tanner Marler, front stretch. You mentioned some of the sections being repaved. Does that kind of hurt you, or does it really not affect it whatsoever?
I think in some of the areas the track has been reworked. I would imagine it's going to kind of even the field to a degree. Anytime you have more grip, you have less potential of missing a corner. So it might bring the field together in a couple corners. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe turn 11 is still just as spread through the field as it was before, but we'll certainly have more grip. Outside of that, I think, turn 12 and the other areas won't change it a whole lot. It'll be pretty close to what it was before. So I think the lap time will be a little bit faster, but the rest of the racetrack has certainly continued to wear even more. It's not like the track that hasn't aged. I don't know of any tracks that get as many laps during the year as this one does. So, the track certainly does change quite a bit year to year when we come here.
Any other questions for Tyler? Right here, we'll go to Kevin.
Yeah, Tyler, Kevin Lytle from the Austin American Statesman. The explosion of gambling really across the country has hit NASCAR, and it seems like it's really benefited it. It's gone up a lot. What is your take on that? And do you know, for instance, that you are the favorite this weekend in the betting odds?
Well, more times than not, it'll get posted to social media and you'll see it somewhere on your feed. But like I was saying earlier, I think when Jeff mentioned that, if anything, it just adds to my confidence coming into the weekend. But no, it is always very interesting to hear, the fans mention it, when you're at the racetrack. Probably my favorite one is, hey, don't screw up today. I got a lot riding on you. That's always interesting to hear. Or I've even heard fans say, hey, I need you to go out there and wreck so-and-so because you got to beat him head to head. So obviously I don't take their advice, but it is pretty funny how the fans love to chime in and let you know what they've got riding on you, I guess. Well, there's a fine line to it, right? Obviously the technicalities of it, you have to be careful with it, but everyone loves watching, March Madness and the amount of options you have and the teams you can follow. It's just one more way for fans to stay interact within the race, have their own race within the race, right? As a fan, you have a lot riding on the line when you're cheering for your favorite driver, but once you put your pocketbook on the line too, it adds the excitement for the fans, it seems.
Any final questions for Tyler? Bob, and then Jeff.
Bob Hawkers, Fox Sports.
Hi, Bob.
I'm curious. Hey, how are you? I'm curious. Ty Gibbs has been running really well, but hasn't gotten a win. And obviously, you have talked a little bit on the Harvick podcast about that. You're in meetings with him. I'm curious, what does he add, and what do you see? What have you seen in his growth over the last year?
I mean, he's just learning a lot, and his speed is certainly there. When you think of his experience level in the Cup Series and how tough that transition can be, I think he's doing very, very well. He's hard on himself and wants to win races, as any driver does when they come to the Cup Series. But yeah, he's right there. It's just a matter of time, and there's no lying to it. I mean, you just see the speed he brings to the racetrack, his ability, his racecraft improving. It could be any weekend. It could be this weekend. It could be the next. He's got a lot of speed.
Jeff?
Given you like F1, is there any pride that you've, won on the same track as some of the top F1 drivers that you're like, hey, I'm a race winner at COTA just like they are?
I mean, yeah, I do enjoy thinking about, the different series that come and race here. This track has all sorts of stuff throughout the year that competes at this venue. So, yeah, it is cool to think about it. The two races are entirely different. The strategy, the speed of the cars, the spread between the cars on speed and handling. So, yeah, I think about it a little bit, right? But to some degree, it is very cool, but it's not like why I am so motivated to come here and run well. I think for me, I just naturally over time really came to appreciate the course itself, and for me, it's just one of the most fun laps, car versus track, that we have. Just because there's so many corners, it's one of the most frustrating tracks when you miss a corner because you have about two and a half minutes, 2 minutes, 10 seconds somewhere in there to think about your mistake, right? So. It's very rewarding here to get the most out of your car on a lap. It's a challenging racetrack.
We'll go to Allan in the back left.
Allan Cavana, PRN. What's your understanding about the track limits and how they'll be policed this weekend in terms of getting all 4 tires over? Because, it sounds like they want to look at that, but then they also put a video of you doing a lap out there, and it looks like you're pushing it pretty hard, but that was like their shining example. So how do you look at that as a driver?
Yeah, I think basically what they're trying to accomplish is just enforce it. But I think what's really important to them is being consistent about it. So if it can't be consistently enforced throughout the whole field, there's really no point in having that chance of somebody getting away with something that another car couldn't and getting penalized for. So, yeah, there was a little bit of back and forth, right, trying to see where it was going to end up being. But at the end of the day, largely how you approach this racetrack and how you run it isn't changed too much by it. But certainly, I think for some, depending on the direction it was going to go potentially, on certain corners where you just wouldn't even think twice about being extra aggressive and getting all you can through it, depending on the corner, right? Like you see through the S's, if all of a sudden you get loose or get too crossed up, especially through the S's, I mean, you could be looking at a corner where it's like, if I drive straight through this, I'm going to keep the car in one piece, but I'm going to get a pass through, and then potentially if you try and drive around it, you can find yourself out in left field or spun out. So it's an interesting balance, but I think the biggest thing is they want it to be consistent through the field. So we'll see how it goes. It should be fun. I always really like this track. We have to be really aggressive to push the limits, and just the nature of this course with to the inside of the curbs, with it having paint and the grip that it has, we're all pretty quick to exploit it and maximize it to the rule book.
Go right up there in the front. Nope.
Okay, sorry. Jim Vertuno with the Associated Press. After the finish last year with the new restart spot, what do you think will be the difference that creates in a similar situation?
Yeah, I think cars, mid-pack or on back won't be able to, I guess, be as aggressive, or they won't have the opportunity to be as just relentless as they were last year. I could kind of see it going on behind me, but obviously when you get ready for this race, you see the chaos that was kind of happening back there. And just with the makeup of this car and how stiff the front rear bumpers are, you can just completely knock someone out of the way and keep on digging. You don't destroy your radiator or damage your car to the extent of losing performance. So I need to do something to spread us out a little bit more and make it a little bit more fair and like a race should be, instead of just us running into the back of each other. So it was a good move. Certainly, I think the first 5-6 cars to get through there will still be really, really close, but it should spread the field out enough to where instead of trying to make a bold move that most likely won't work out and dive bombing, 6 cars, you may only be able to dive bomb 1 or 2. We still might get to turn 1 and they still might wreck, right? But we'll be spread out a little bit more, and it won't be as easy for someone to just kind of ship it in there and say the heck with everybody else to the outside of them.
All right, Tyler, appreciate your time and best of luck this weekend. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.